Greetings and welcome to this episode of Everyday Enchantment. I'm your host, Stacey, and I am so excited about jumping in to a question I know I ask myself all the time, which is when I'm feeling kind of in a funk or a little bit on autopilot and my life's just feeling a little blah. Maybe I'm a little bored. Maybe I'm just, the normal things don't excite me right now in this moment. What can I do? So today I have the answer for you in a few very fun, very simple, and equally practically magically ways. So listen into this episode because I am going to help you kind of just give yourself a little jolt out of whatever place you're in right now. So often our morning routines, our day routines, the things that we do that absolutely just keep us moving without having to overexert our brains. They absolutely are beautiful practices and they can make life sometimes feel a little stale. Maybe you're not feeling as connected to your intuition. Maybe you feel a little off at work, or maybe you're running your business right now and you feel like it's missing a spark of something. So, what do you do in those instances? I know I have many a method, and you can check out any of the previous episodes about getting off the hamster wheel, stop over planning, have some more fun playing games. And this episode is going to be right along with the energy of those. So, I want you to start to think about all the things you do automatically in your day. You get up, you have a cup of coffee, you take a shower, you drive the same way to work every day, or you do the exact same thing. Think about that morning routine and the way you do it. And again, there's beauty in linking all those little micro habits and behaviors together so you don't have to think about every little thing. I want you to disrupt that. I want you to drive a different way to work, park in a different place, order something different. If you are the person going through the coffee line, maybe you get yourself a tea or some other thing, a juice, I don't know, kombucha, you name it, something that sounds good. I don't want you to make yourself miserable, but absolutely thinking about breaking up your routine. If you always go to bed super early, I don't know, maybe you stay up a little bit late and you watch the moon. There's such gorgeous moon rises, the full moons, the new moon energy. You do something a little different. I know when I was kind of shifting my life in very big ways back when I was going through my divorce and kind of coming back into my own on the other side. The music that I listened to most of my life had so many memories for me and so many things at that time that I did something entirely opposite what I thought I would do, something completely out of habit, and I started listening to country music. It didn't have any it didn't have any memory associated with it. It was fresh and new and different for me. And I always thought I wouldn't be that person. And yet, the more I listened, and again, not every artist lit me up, but there was beautiful music in that space when I allowed myself to try something I didn't normally try, I wouldn't have done. And it reminds me, again, kind of on this theme of like breaking up the patterns, doing things differently. Years ago, when I was single, the first year that I was kind of out meandering the world on my own after this long relationship, I decided, and this is before Shonda Rhimes wrote her book, The Year of Yes. I decided I was going to have a year of yes. I was going to say yes to things that I normally wouldn't have said yes to. So somebody asked me out on a boat. Yes, I will do that. Somebody, said, hey, you want to go to a concert? You want to go sledding in the middle of the night? Whatever it was, my normal instincts back then, because my life was just a mess, I would have said, no, no, I don't have the bandwidth. No, I just can't. And I think in my former life, because I was in a space where, again, there was so much trauma and so much abuse, that no felt the safest to me. So here I am in this world where I am still safe to say yes, but I'm still practicing and getting my feet wet with really experiencing what that was. So I made a promise to myself that I would say yes unless it endangered my life or sounded like it was going to endanger my life or somebody else. I was going to experiment, go out on an adventure, and really try that. So whether you have like the yes to the no, or maybe you always say yes. So maybe your practice is, oh, I'm going to say no a couple of times. And that fear of missing out, what am I going to find and discover here instead? And I think it's a really fun thing. It's just mixing it up, doing something different. I remember back in school when I was a kid, they would call it like opposite day, right? Or in the Seinfeld world, it was like bizarro world where everything's turned back, like frontward, backward, upside down in some different way. If you are finding being uninspired, being in a little bit of a funk, being in a like bored, I don't really know. I always call that general malaise. I'm like, I don't really know, but I'm just not feeling lit up right now. And not that there's anything wrong with that either. Little side note there, we can absolutely be in those feels, but something just fun to spark something can be absolutely just an adventure and an exploration in our own mind and experience in the way we want to live and show up and be intentional. So I want all of us to kind of have our own, whether you want to call it opposite day, right? So the tea instead of the coffee, or you go the long way through the woods to, your appointment instead of going the easy, fast, direct highway way. You mix it up and you do it with an intention that again is wrapped in having some fun, getting yourself out of your familiar, comfortable routines. The brain, the part of our body that is wired to kind of keep us in those boxes, is going to go, whoa, wait a second. And it's going to have lots of opinions. It's okay. The brain can have lots of opinions. It's going to feel slightly uncomfortable to go right if you normally go left, to say yes if you're going to say no. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It just means that that little neural synapses that goes A to B every day, all of a sudden it's like going A to G. It's like, whoa, wait a second. So I want you to have fun. This isn't like a challenge to do that you have to take so seriously. What could it be? I know for me, sometimes I have the same breakfast for like 3 months in a row. And then I'm like, all right, I got to mix this up. I got to do something different. So playing with routine and playing with the spontaneity of breaking the autopilot, doing the opposite. If you can't, again, if you can't think of something, it's like, oh, instead of going to this coffee shop, maybe I go to this one, or instead of ordering whatever this salad I normally get with this dressing, I'm going to try a different dressing, or I'm going to order something new that I wouldn't necessarily order. Maybe you go, fall is a beautiful time to be getting, I always think of it, new school supplies for myself, some new fall sweater weather stuff. Like, what would I try on? Like, I look and go, oh, I would never do that. I would never. And then I go, well, why not? Why not just try it on in the dressing room and have some fun? So that's the spirit of bringing some lightness, some humor, some playfulness into a moment. And again, you don't have to do all of these things. I want you to think about like, what would a day look like where I just inserted one thing very different, maybe my nighttime routine. Maybe always take a bath, or maybe instead you do a shower, or you, instead of watching TV right up until you go to sleep, you read something. Again, it doesn't have to be some big gesture, something a little different to shake it up. That's what I want. I always, anytime I'm feeling a little blah, I'm like, what could I do? Maybe I take my wildest things in my own closet and put them together in a way that I haven't done before. Like, ooh, who do I think I am that I can wear that and that and that, all those colors together? It's like, why not? I'm gonna put on my sparkle heels and go to the grocery store. Just again, we are taught and trained, and again, there's efficiency around our brains doing the same thing over and over again. It's going to be harder for us to really in kind of play with that imaginary energy. And I say imagination because imagination to me is such a foundation for our intuition, for being able to have those knowings and that sense of, again, what my business wants for me, how it wants to play with me, my life, my clients, whatever it is, wherever you find yourself in ways that it's the cliche expression. If you rinse, lather, repeat, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if you want a different feeling, you want to mix it up, just take just ordinary moments and flip them around a little bit. All right, loves, that's what I have for us today. If you are feeling a little like you needed that bolt, drop me a comment. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. Pop over to my Facebook group, Everyday Enchantment. We're always talking about this topic and other topics related, again, to creating a life that's very intentionally rooted in the practicality of being human and the magic of being this intuitive, soulful being. How do you integrate the two of those things? That's this podcast. That's my Facebook group. That's coaching with me one-on-one. So pop on over, send me a message. I would love to hear from you. And until we meet again, I will talk to you on the flip side. That's it for now, loves. Thank you for tuning into this episode. Get all the juicy details and links we've mentioned in the show notes. If learning more about how you can use your own enchantment to live a oh hell yes life, come get your own coaching session with me by going to staceyandon.com and signing up for my homepage. And as always, come chat with me about this topic and all things enchantment in my Facebook group, Everyday Enchantment. See you on the flip side.